Hi, and welcome to this very special episode of Kidney Plugged In. On today's episode, we take you into the world of entertainment and introduce you to performing artist Andrea Conway and her husband Wayne Doba, a renowned tap dance professional. Andrea was diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease at the age of 30 and was placed on dialysis at 45. Performance was Andrea's world until it all collapsed when she had to go on dialysis. Andrea candidly shares her journey from kidney disease diagnosis to transplantation while taking us into her world of performance that ranged from Cirque du Soleil to tap dance perfection. We caught up with Andrea and Wayne as they performed their original award-winning tap dance spectacle, By Our Side, in Vancouver. And we'll introduce you to them next, right here on Kidney Plugged In.
Andrea, thank you for joining us today on Plugged In.
A real pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, the pleasure is ours because actually we were lucky to catch you. We're here at the beautiful Culture Theatre here in Vancouver, but you're visiting us.
I am. I got invited. My husband and I created a show about our transplant journey, and we started the show. We premiered the show in Montreal at the Fringe Festival, and it was a big success. And I applied to be part of the Revolver Festival here that is produced by Up in the Air Theatre. And they chose our show to be part of their festival. So we're pleased to be here and can't wait to perform.
And we're very excited that the show is here. So let's start there. Tell us about the show. What's it about?
Well, the show came to me in the hospital when I had just had the transplant. And I thought it was such an incredible thing, and I was like, how could this be put on stage? I took a lot of notes during this journey and decided to write a script about it, and wanted to create something that represented having a transplant and my life being saved by an anonymous donor. But I didn't want it to be a heavy show. I wanted it to be kind of light and a celebration of this gift that allows me to tap dance and do what I love from my heart, which for several years I couldn't do because I was on dialysis and my husband and I could no longer travel. So this show came from this gift, and I'm just so happy to be alive on stage, doing what I love with the person I love. And I want to celebrate the person who saved my life and their family.
And this is a fantastic story. It's a tap dance show.
Correct.
Right?
My husband and I have been honing our art my husband's been doing it for almost 50 years. He's been tap dancing. He taught me how to tap dance. And so this show is a reflection of our career on stage. We're vaudeville performers, so we also do comic banter. My background is more circus. I was a gymnast, and then I got into Cirque du Soleil and toured for 9 years. And my husband's been performing for 50 years. And so it's all of our experience wrapped into this show that we are so grateful, to be alive and we can do this show because of organ donation.
And we're going to take you back down memory lane right now because I had heard that you used to be with Cirque du Soleil. You used to be an acrobat, and now you're doing a tap dance show. Can you tell us about that journey, because you turned to tap before your diagnosis with kidney disease, is that right?
Correct. What happened was I started as a gymnast, and just as I was starting to retire gymnastics, the Cirque du Soleil was starting to grow. And lo and behold, I got cast into the show Saltimbanco for Cirque du Soleil. And then after 9 years, I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready for something new. Went to Montreal and started taking different classes, mime classes, and tap dance. And by chance, in one of my last Cirque shows, a casting director from a show called Teatro Zanzani in San Francisco had seen one of my last Cirque shows, and she was looking for a comic character, and my role in the Cirque du Soleil was somewhat comic. I was at the time I was a high-flying acrobat, but I was 30, so I was looking for something closer to the ground, and tap dancing is on the ground. So I thought maybe I'll do some couple classes in Montreal, but when I got cast into the show in San Francisco, my husband was in the show, and he is a tap dance extraordinaire. So I thought, maybe he could teach me a few moves, and he did, and we got married and formed the tap dance duo Dick and Mitzi.
So Andrea, we're back. And in our previous segment, you alluded to the fact that you're a kidney patient. You had kidney disease. Tell us a bit about your journey with kidney disease. When were you first diagnosed?
I was diagnosed just when I was stopping doing Cirque du Soleil. It's an inherited kidney disease, so I inherited polycystic kidney disease from my father. It had affected him only at 60. So I was going for regular checkups, and the doctors were saying, oh, probably it'll affect you around 60. And all of a sudden, they said, you're in stage 4 kidney failure. I was 45. So it was devastating, because we had just signed a huge contract in Seattle, and Chicago was just about to open, and I really wanted to perform in Chicago. It's a theater city, and I was diagnosed, and like from one day to the next. Sorry, it's kind of emotional. It was devastating, but now, so I was on dialysis for 2 years, and actually it really grounded me. My whole life I was on the road, and all of a sudden I had to stay in a place, and I made a garden, and it really grounded me. And now, after I have been through this journey and having had a transplant, I can't imagine my life without it. It's such the whole thing's been a gift, and to be able to perform again after this, it's so much more satisfying. It makes me feel really alive.
So very interesting that you said PKD. So PKD, as we know, runs in the family. It's a hereditary component of kidney disease. And you were diagnosed at 45 on dialysis. Peritoneal dialysis, what kind of dialysis were you on?
So I chose peritoneal home dialysis. I was lucky I was able to do it at night, and I slept well with it. So really, that was a really good treatment for me. I mean, knowing that my grandfather also had the disease and died at 45 from the disease, it's just, I was so grateful to have this kind of, I don't want to say technology, but this medicine, that didn't exist back when my grandfather had it. And so super grateful. And part of me felt like, even before getting the transplant, doing the dialysis for 2 years really made the transplant all the more meaningful. And also knowing that other people were going through this. And I think everything that comes with dialysis, and this is what I address in the show, I try and not make light of it, but embrace the experience of having to go through dialysis nightly, and to have to deal with all these boxes, and have to deal with the catheter coming out. And I thought it was so important to put all this stuff in our show.
Can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to be on PD, home peritoneal dialysis? What is that process like? What are you doing? How long are you dialyzing? How many days?
Okay, so peritoneal home dialysis involves doing it every single day. Now, there's 2 types of home dialysis. There's the kind of dialysis that called manual, where you have to actually put the liquid on a stand and infuse a bunch of liquid into your peritoneal, into your stomach, basically. And it has to stay there for a certain amount of time, a few hours, 4 hours, and then it has to come out. I had the option of doing it at night. So at nighttime is the same process, but it's a machine that infuses the liquid into the stomach. It stays there for several hours, comes out, and there's 4 exchanges done at night. So for me, it was around 9 hours. And with all this liquid that I was talking about, it's about 700 to 800 pounds of liquids in bags that gets delivered every single month. So people come in and help you and deliver it, and you have a big stack of boxes in your bedroom or anywhere that you have room in, and that stays there. So you get about 30 boxes every month, plus all the tubing and plastics and that come with it. And yeah, it becomes part of your life and your routine.
Was that a shock to you? Because we hear from many patients that do receive all the Baxter boxes at their home. It's like you need a whole room or a very large closet to store. I mean, that's a lifestyle change.
It's a lifestyle change. I knew of it because of my father being on peritoneal dialysis, and he actually came to visit us once when we were performing, and so I knew about the boxes.
So Andrea, you were on nocturnal dialysis. You dialyzed at night, right? What time did you hook up, and how long, what time was your regular routine through the night?
I prepped stuff during the day, so it would be ready at night, and I would allow myself kind of like a half hour to hook in. So at 10 o'clock, I'd stop watching a TV show we were watching or whatever, and my routine would be to, sanitize my hands and use a half hour to actually plug in. And then I was on for 9 hours. My routine was to unplug and take my blood pressure and stuff. So I was around, up around 8 or 8:30. And I mean, sometimes it might vary. If I went to bed a little bit later, I'd have to get up later. Now, if I went a lot later, then I'd have to get up a lot later, which that was kind of harder in a way, because it just had, I was awake and had to sit there, and that's when Wayne would maybe sometimes bring me a coffee in bed.
So Andrea, we were just talking about the fact that you were 2 years on peritoneal dialysis and that whole experience. But your life, your passion is being a performer. How did that affect being on dialysis? How did that affect your career?
Well, basically, it killed our career for a little while, and that's part of what was devastating. I mean, oddly enough, when I was first diagnosed and I first started my dialysis, I came to Vancouver with Wayne to do a show in North Vancouver. So the artistic director, Kim Selady at the time, was very, very accommodating and received all the boxes. And so we actually did several performances while on dialysis, but it was hard. It was really tough. And also, when you're waiting for a transplant, you can't be off everywhere. You have to stay home. And you're waiting for a call.
Yes.
And that's like in our show, it is a main theme, is waiting for that call.
So let's talk about the transplant, because there was a light at the end of that tunnel.
I was waiting 2 years for my kidney.
So you're not performing, you're waiting at home, you're dialyzing. The phone rings, you get the call. Can you tell us about that moment?
Yeah, I mean, Wayne and I were actually on the roof shoveling snow, and all I could think of when I was shoveling snow was coming in and having some kind of a beverage. I was so thirsty. And just as we were coming in from outside, we heard the phone ring, and we were like, oh my God, okay, get the phone, because it's like traumatic having the phone ring all the time. You're hoping it's that call. And sure enough, I pick up the phone, and it's the hospital. And the first thing they say, I'm like parched. And the first thing is they don't eat or drink anything. And I'm like, okay. And on the way to the hospital, there was Christmas music playing because it was the beginning of December. And I couldn't help but think of the person who had just passed away and their family. And Wayne and I were just quiet for that whole drive. We were an hour and a half away from the hospital, and we were just quiet. It was snowing. It was a really snowy afternoon, and we are on a mountain in Quebec, on a ski mountain. We don't ski, and we don't particularly go downtown at that time. And of course, there was in our rural area, there was traffic. Both Wayne and I were nervous, but we just stayed quiet and tried to stay calm. I did not cry at all. Like, I'm a very emotional person. The whole process of driving to the hospital, and then it's like I couldn't process what was gonna happen. So I think between getting the phone call and getting to the hospital, when you're getting the phone call, you're just thinking technically, is this a good kidney? Is this the kidney for me? And then when you're driving to the hospital, then you're like, oh my God, this kidney is coming from somebody. So it's the realization that, okay, my life might be saved, but someone has died. Who is this person? How is their family feeling? And then there's the weight of waiting for the kidney, of the operation, whether it's gonna happen. And that waiting time, we didn't know. Because we were waiting for so long, I thought it wasn't gonna happen. I didn't cry until after the kidney was in me, which is really weird because I'm an emotional person, but on the drive, I felt like I was wondering who the person was, but I wasn't emotional yet. And I was really emotional after the kidney was inside me.
You said something very poignant about reflecting on the way there, about the fact that somebody was giving you the gift of life. But in order for that to happen, somebody else has lost a loved one. And you had the transplant, you come out. What were your first thoughts then, recovering?
Recovering, I would just be in my room holding my new kidney, and I would just start crying and just be so thankful. And I didn't know, I mean, this is gonna sound also a little bit crazy, but because of the French language, and I don't know whether they say it's female or male, I didn't know if it was a woman, a man. And I just wanted the kidney to feel comfortable in my body. And because it was around Christmas time, it was really tough. I mean, I couldn't believe that this person had saved my life, you know? And there was Christmas carolers in the hallway. And I would just be in my room and be just completely thankful. And I couldn't believe that this person had saved my life.
Incredible story. After this, at some point you returned back to performing. And I know your husband is a huge part of that, Wayne. Do you think he'd join us now for the interview, Andrea?
Yeah, of course. He's been waiting. He's the star of the show, or he like me.
Right.
Wayne, we are thrilled to have you here joining us on Plugged In. Welcome.
No, thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Well, your reputation precedes you. So before we talk about your partnership with your wife and the journey that you've experienced as someone living with a person with kidney disease, because we do know that it doesn't just affect the patient, it does affect the whole family.
Yeah.
It does affect the partnership. But I got to ask you a bit about your career, which Andrea alluded to. Tap dancer for like 50-something years?
Yeah.
And you've rubbed shoulders with some of the best over that time.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I got to dance with Donald O'Connor, well, in a show with him for about 6 months before he passed away. We did a tour on, I think it was up here, it was in Seattle. And I worked with the Nicholas brothers on 2 or 3 tours.
My gosh, I'm sure you've brought a smile or even a chuckle or two to some of the viewers with some of the names that you have just named, that you've rubbed shoulders with. What amazing, fantastic career, which brings us to the reason both of you are here, that we're so fortunate to have you in Vancouver. We're going to go back and talk a little bit about how you came back to performance, but just right now, tell us a little bit about the show, what they're going to see right now, why you're here in Vancouver.
Well, basically, the show is kind of a summary of what we went through as a couple during transplant and, well, during kidney failure. So, I mean, it's odd to say that it's a kind of a rom-com, docu-drama, tap dancing show about kidney failure, but that's what it is.
Yeah, because when she said that, I was like, wait, you're gonna do a tap dancing show about kidney failure? I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't.
He wasn't sure.
I wasn't.
He wasn't convinced that we could combine such.
Yeah.
Tap dancing is usually fun and happy with kidney failure, and it seems to be working really well.
It's fantastic. She did a great job.
Well, we did it together.
Well, you spent a lot of time in writing. I'm just the star of the show.
Well, he taught me how to tap dance, so I mean, I wouldn't be tapping if it weren't for
That's
you,
true. That's true.
right? So,
So you're more than along for the ride there.
Yeah.
Maybe that you perform.
yeah, and I think that's part of what was tough for me, tough for Wayne, is that because of me, Wayne couldn't perform. We're a duo. So when I got diagnosed with kidney failure, it affected Wayne's career. All of a sudden, we were traveling the world doing our show and our shtick in Europe and in the United States, and all of a sudden, everything got put on hold because of me.
Perfect point, Andrea, for us to go back in time. Post-transplant, right? At some point, you made the decision that you were going to get back into the arts, you were going to get back into performing after your transplant. How did that all come about? Take us back and tell us.
Well, I think Wayne and I had always, we love performing, we love making people laugh. We've always done kind of lighthearted entertainment with a touch of romantic comedy, husband and wife stuff. And I think after the transplant, we were just so happy, right, that it happened, that it's like, how can we incorporate what we've done all this time and have an impactful message about organ donation? Because of my donor, then Wayne, we were able to perform again together, right? Even
in these very lighthearted shows, we always kept a through line. We were living in the country, so it wasn't easy for me to well, I'm gonna go somewhere and perform while you're here, And so, after she had the transplant, it was like, now we could do stuff, but that's when COVID kind of hit. So all of a sudden, and she's immune compromised, so we're still wearing masks a lot of time and stuff like this.
So there was a moment in time, Andrea and Wayne, when you were thinking of this idea for the play. There was that light bulb when it actually happened, when it became more than just an idea. So when was that moment when you realized, hey, we're really going to do this?
During COVID is that I was starting to get really bordering on depression, because I'm like, why am I ever going to get to perform again? And that was a big question. And Wayne insisted that we keep dancing. And I wasn't a great tap improviser. And Wayne, we really used that time, now that I had my transplant, feeling better, still can't go anywhere because of COVID. We really used that time. He really pushed me into improvising. To be able to improvise tap dancing has been a huge freedom that I didn't think I could ever get to. After the transplant, him trying to get all these gloves on and stuff, and he already doesn't like hospitals, was just comic on its own. I'm like, this is hilarious. We have to put this into the show. He's just a funny person, and even in the most serious moments, Wayne has the ability to make me laugh. So it kind of organically happened, but the actual instigator was this business coach said, why don't you put your name in the hat for the Fringe Festival in Montreal? Because chances are there's only a few people get chosen. You probably won't get picked, but if you do, then you can decide whether you want to just go for it. And so we did it. We put our name in the hat, and we were online watching when they picked the names out, and our name got picked out because it's a lottery. And so it was like, okay, do we do this? And it was going to be, and this was in December, and it was happening in June. So we had to put the show together and get it ready for June.
So we're back with Andrea and Wayne. Thank you so much for sticking around and staying with us here. We know kidney disease doesn't just affect the patient, it affects the family. So this has been a journey that you've both been on. and now you're sharing that journey in person with an audience. It's been an emotional journey for you to share. What part of the play would you say is the most emotional for you?
Well, for me, it's the end when we reveals Steve, her donor, and we show a picture of him, and she says he's her hero, and I said he's by our side. That's the name of the show. That's like, and there's Steve, and it's like that's hard for me. I mean,
yeah, and I still in the show, and the show's like happy, but there's like, it's a real kind of, it's kind of a cliche now to say a roller coaster ride, but the show really is. And I still get emotional because I actually read the letters out loud that I exchanged with my donor's mother with her permission, and she really wanted the show to happen. So I still get emotional when I read some of those letters, and I share it with the public because I think it's really important to know how emotionally impactful and the bond that we've created with my donor's family, how beautiful it is, and how in this time that we're so not connected, even though we're connected digitally, that a total stranger saved my life, and all of a sudden we're family with this family, and it's the best part of humanity. It's like this gift that was given to me that was out of pure, just a pure gift that has no, it's not like a monetary thing. It's just out of pure love and generosity and the right thing to do to sign your donor card and save someone's life. And I think that's what we try and celebrate in the show. It's really hard to describe. You have to kind of come and see the show to see how impactful it actually is.
It's been a special moment for us here at Plugged In, having you both join us on the show today. Can't thank you enough. Thank you doesn't seem to be enough to say, but thanks so much for joining us and sharing your stories.
Thank you for having us and allowing us to share our story, because that's what it's all about.
thank you for letting me talk, because she doesn't really allow that.